Hi guys and gals, welcome back to the shop. If my voice sounds a little bit rough, it's because it's a little after 3 in the morning. And why am I in the shop, you might ask? Well, I haven't been able to get anything done all week, and I figured the only way I'm going to get something done is if I just get up before work and start working. So here I am. Anyway, we're going to make a shellac pad today. In the past, I've used just pieces of old t-shirt for putting on shellac. Probably black is not the best, but white would be better. I've also used like a high quality paper towel. This is a Viva type paper towel. That works pretty good. But I was listening to the Fine Woodworking podcast the other day, and Mike Pekovich was saying that for a long time he just used like an old rag too, but he recently started using an actual shellac pad, and he said, wow, it's really kind of a game changer. Just makes things a heck of a lot easier. And I've used one in the past, but I guess I never really noticed a difference. But anyway, I'm going to make another one and see if I think it's really all it's cracked up to be. You really only need two things to make a shellac pad. This is a dishcloth, an old dishcloth. You can certainly buy a new one, but you'd probably want to wash it a few times before you use it, just to get all the lint out of it. This is going to be the outside cover for it. And then I got some cheesecloth. You can just get this at any normal hardware store or big box store like a Lowe's or Home Depot. Or Menards, if you live in the land of Menards monopoly like I do. I actually live in the city where Menards is headquartered, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So if you want to buy stuff like lumber, screws, nails, you can go to the local hardware store, like an Ace or something, or Menards. Those are your only options. There's no Home Depot, there's no Lowe's, and there's never going to be, because Menards is based in Eau Claire, and so John Menard is going to keep out anybody else who wants to get in there. So that's just the way it is. I'm going to take the dishcloth and just fold it in half, because I don't need really this whole thing, so I'm going to cut off 1/4 of it. There you go. Now we got the cover for our shellac pad. And then we're just going to take a good amount of this cheesecloth and fold that up. And that's going to be the material that'll hold the shellac. And I have tried just using the cheesecloth itself as a pad. You can just kind of wad it up like this. But the problem I found with it is it has a very, I don't know how to describe it. Like the threads are very obvious. It's kind of a coarse material. So the threads tend to catch on any little splinter or anything that's sticking up the wood. Obviously you don't want to have that in the wood, but anything at all, it will catch on, and then you got a snag in it. And so really a finer textured cloth would be better. So I'm just going to fold this up in a somewhat organized fold here. So now we just wrap the outside cover around it. And what we're aiming for is on the surface that we're going to be using against our workpiece, we want it to be relatively free from creases. So on this bottom section, you don't want creases in there that are going to snag on stuff. And you want a nice flat surface. This is really kind of too long out here, so I'm going to cut some of this off. There we go. You can put like a rubber band around this or something to keep it closed, or you can tie a piece of thread. I've seen people do both of those. Or you can just hold it in your hand, because then if you want to open it up, and some people like to add the shellac to the inside with like a little squirt bottle, or you can add it to the outside. Kind of depends. It's up to you. You got to find out what works best for you. So now let's try it out, see how it works. For shellac, what's been working well for me is Bullseye Seal Coat. So it's a pre-mixed shellac, ready to use out of the can. And then I dilute it 50% by adding denatured alcohol. So fill up a jar halfway with the seal coat and then all the way to the top with the denatured alcohol, and you're good to go. It'd be nice to have like a little squirt bottle to charge up the pad with, but I don't happen to have anything like that on hand. If you guys can think of a good place to buy one of those, let me know. Probably at a drugstore or something. But you can just dip it in here. It's not the end of the world. You watch some of these videos or read some articles, and people are pretty particular about how they do stuff like patting on shellac. And I guess if you're doing like a French polish or something like that, you know, maybe it makes a big difference. But as long as you're getting a thin coat of the finish on there, that's all you're really aiming for. It doesn't have to be, I mean, it's really not rocket science. It's like a lot of things in woodworking. It's really not that hard to learn a lot of it, but there's kind of a mystique. I'm not talking about the X-Men character either. Although that would be sweet if Mystique did woodworking. I do like to wear gloves when working with shellac for two reasons. Well, maybe more. Number one, I don't like getting the shellac on my fingers because when it dries, it's hard to get off. You can get it off with the denatured alcohol, but you usually have to scrub a bit. Number two, you can get fingerprints on your workpiece if you're touching the wet shellac. You want to try to avoid that, but sometimes it's not easy. Number three, I found that if I spend a lot of time with the shellac on my hands, like you keep coating it on, that some of that alcohol gets absorbed in your skin, and it can make you feel a little bit loopy. It's not like you're actually like having a, you know, gin and tonic or something, but it's a weird feeling, probably because it's denatured alcohol, and so you're getting some of that methanol in there, which is not good for you. I mean, if you drink that stuff, it can make you go blind. So I try to avoid breathing in the fumes and getting on my skin as much as possible. It's not something that's, you know, the end of the world, but why not try to avoid killing some brain cells? I need all the brain cells I can get. One of the really nice things about using a shellac pad is that once you charge it with the shellac, you really can work for quite a while before you have to add more to it, because that cheesecloth inside holds quite a bit of the liquid and dispenses it very evenly. So I think I'm in agreement with Mr. Pekovich. Really, the shellac pad is the way to go. If you guys have any tips for applying shellac with a pad, let me know. Or maybe use the pad to apply other finishes. Let me know in the comments below. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys next time.